Seeing one or two of you linking in. Welcome Lucy Hassel and a couple of others, the early birds. So just a wee drumming, a quieter drumming for our soul work. Oh, musician of my soul, sing your song, sing your song with every breath. Oh, musician of my soul, sing your song, sing your song with every breath. Oh, musician of my soul, sing your song, sing your song with every breath. So, warm welcome from me, JJ. Sovereign Earth. Sovereign Earth number 54. John King is watching. Jørgen Bengtsdotter is watching from Scandinavia somewhere. Jolanda van Nooikoop from the north of Netherlands in Groningen. Beautiful town. Christopher White and Jolanda van Nooikoop are watching. And Karen Teteru from Ireland. And the Scottish continent, yes, the Scottish contingent, not the Scottish continent, from John and Lynn. Christopher White from Nottingham. Alexandra Wilhelm. Kai Renato Mancini from Italy, hello. And Carol Matthews, a local from Stroud. Very much welcome to all of you. Okay. So we're going to be looking at soul, something we've all got some sense of, but which can't be pinned down. And it's really worth just taking a time out and giving some attention to soul, as it can tend to get squeezed out in modern life. So Sovereign Earth, for those who might be new, Sovereign Earth is a series of offerings. This is number 54. And each one is actually thinking about it, a soul aspect. So here we are dealing with soul itself, but each one is an aspect of what I believe those things that matter and which will lead to a vision, like the vision of Sovereign Earth, the vision of most of us here, I suspect, or all of us, is for humanity to hold nature as being sacred again. Gosh, that's such a simple line, but how profound. For humanity to hold nature as being sacred again, for God's sake. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So many of our problems, I'm not saying that life wouldn't be a challenge or difficult, but so many of our problems would evaporate. So many of our nature as ally rather than enemy. Anyway, we're going on a journey together. This is just a few words. Any of us probably could have written this. Francis Burnett wrote this. How is it that animals understand things I do not know? But it is certain that they do understand. Perhaps there's a language which is not made up of words, and everything in the world understands it. Perhaps there's a soul hidden in everything. Perhaps there's a soul hidden in everything, and it can always speak without even making a sound to another soul. I nearly didn't include that because I thought it was too simple, and it's actually profound, isn't it? The thought of it, we know, I think, if we take the time out, that everything does have a soul. Soul is in everything. Here's one from Rumi. Rumi says, the soul has been given its own ears to hear things that the mind does not understand. That's really important, that we recognise the soul's been given its own ears to hear things that the mind can never understand or cannot understand. Soul is beyond the intellect. Oscar Wilde, in your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. In your soul are infinitely precious things that cannot be taken from you. So I'm going through on this journey, and I'm throwing in all sorts of drops in the water, stones in the pool of soul, and some will sing more than others, but take what you will. But we'll explore the depths as we go through. But this is just to set the scene. A few thoughts on soul. Go to the people and the places that set a spark in your soul. Go to the people and the places that set a spark in your soul. Soul is the true self, or soul as the true self, the innermost sacred part of each person. Here's one of several I'll quote this evening from John O'Donoghue, who's been a great source of inspiration for me over the years, and one who I resonate with. The nature of soul is a profound intimacy with how we are moved and changed by the great web of relations. That is our journey through life. The soul or psyche is a landscape of our innermost being. Behind your image, below your words, above your thoughts, the silence of another world waits. Couple of short ones to finish. I used this one on the call out. In a world where everyone wears a mask, it's a privilege to see a soul. You could say in a world, yes, in this world where everyone is wearing a mask, so it seems we're all wearing masks. What a privilege it is, and what a joy and a delight to see a soul, to see beyond the mask. And the final one, Marianne Williamson. The soul is the truth of who we are. So I've enjoyed sort of delving and just bringing bits together from bits of paper over the years, and just little droplets to drop in the bucket of compassion and heartfulness. Anyway, there's a few to start us on our way. So here's a song before I delve into some of what's behind the word soul. So here's some words I wrote a few years ago to a tune that some of you may recognise because it's an ancient mantra. Oh, great love of my heart, which flows through each and all, rain down your gold on my soul. Let all earth's creatures unfold. O great love of my heart, which flows through each and all, rain down your gold on my soul. Let all earth's creatures unfold. Together, if you care to, once more. O great love of my heart, which flows through each and all, rain down your gold on my soul. Let all earth's creatures unfold. I'd encourage and invite all of us, myself included, to remember, and I forget too, how powerful it can be to invoke soul through song. So the origin of the word soul, this is fascinating, I think. The origin of the word soul. When it first crops up in English, in the 8th century poem of Beowulf, the old Anglo-Saxon chronicle, the story, a sawol, sawol. So this word sawol, what's it mean? Where does it come from? Well, it has more ancient origins in Germanic, in Norse, in Gothic, in Lutheran, but most Northern European, you could say. And it means coming from or belonging to the sea. So this, the ancient old origin of the word soul, coming from or belonging to the sea. How interesting and curious is that the soul is related to the water. It's not just the sea, it's also apparently lake as well. Coming from water, seas, lake, and the pre-Celtic myths and stories of life coming from the lake and returning to it. Excalibur being thrown in the lake at the point of death, return to the source. Interesting though that water is the source of soul. And what I found fascinating, so Old Saxon, pre-English if you like, Old German really, soul is seola, and sea is seo. I may not have pronounced them right, but you get the idea of that flavour. Seola for soul, seo for sea, this relationship. And how interesting that it's very near to the word sailor. Seola, sailor. A sailor on the sea, on the soul sea. A sailor is adrift on soul, really, searching for something beyond the horizon. How interesting. So this notion of soul intimately tied up with coming from or being of the sea or a lake. And of course the other word that comes up for me is seal, the creature, the seal. Seola, seol, seal. Very closely related word. And the seal is of the soul world. Many stories, many myths have this selkie of the other world, of the soul world. I went down to the water's edge, there I found my coat of sealskin. I went up to the mountain high, there I found my cloak of feathers. I will swim and I will fly, tell the tales the birds have taught me. I will swim and I will fly, sing the songs the sea has brought me. Sing the songs the sea has brought me, and the seal bringing the tales of the soul of the sea. Interesting and fascinating. So, your soul is your immortal inner being. It existed before time began, and it will always exist, even when you merge back in your ultimate spiritual home as a conscious aspect of infinite being, the divine source of all life. I just scribbled on here, love as the expression of soul. I think love is the expression of soul. Not perceptible to the senses, not comprehensible to the mind or the intellect. The call is to embrace and encompass the call to soulfulness, the light of soul, the spirit of soul in our own being, and to fulfill that and manifest that in our own unique way. And that's the real fascinating challenge. It's a unique path for each of us. So here's something else fascinating about the Sanskrit word, the most ancient language, Sanskrit, going back thousands and thousands of years. Sanskrit has the word Atman for an approximation of soul. It is soul. It's the word for self or soul, universal, unchanging. And actually, I'll turn to my book of Shinings. So here is something from the Upanishads. Now the Upanishads were written thousands of years ago there's various debate about how long, but between 3,000 and 8,000 years old, possibly more. And this is from the Katha Upanishad, which is one of the more recent ones, but even so it's a minimum of 3,000 years old, which were compiled from various wisdom teachings and passed on in secret from generation to generation. So this word, this soul word in Sanskrit, Atman, the spirit of vision, is never born and never dies. Before her there was nothing, and she is one forevermore. Never born and eternal, beyond times gone or to come. She does not die when the body dies. Concealed in the heart of all beings is the Atman, the spirit of self, smaller than the smallest atom, greater than the vast spaces. The man who surrenders his human will leaves sorrows behind and beholds the glory of the Atman by the grace of the Creator. Now, what's fascinating about those words as they carry through the millennia, not just centuries old, millennia old, this constant inner knowledge, I, and I believe we, you, can equate with that as having an essential wisdom truth in it, expressed. And it resonates deep, 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 deep down in our souls. So Atman, Sikhism as well has Atman and uses Atma. It refers to Atma as the spiritual spark or light, which gives us life. And soul is the driver of the body. It drives the body. Soul, the body is the vehicle. Soul drives the vehicle in a way and gives us life. Now here's something really interesting, I think, at least. See what you make of it. In ancient Chinese teachings, Confucian times, they have two souls. They have the Hun and the Po. Two souls, Hun and Po. And the Hun is the equivalent of the Yang, the masculine energy, and the Po is the equivalent of the feminine, Yin energy. Yang, Yin, Hun, Po. Two souls. Now what gets interesting is that in Taoism, they split that down into twin souls, Hun and Po, but there are 10, there are, let's get this right, 3 Hun and 7 Po. 3 Hun elements of soul and 7 Po. Now what's interesting to me, at least, is that there are more female, yin. I suspect, I have a feeling it might be to balance out the more dominant male element, which is still essential and crucial, but needs to be balanced. Anyway, there are 3 Hun, 7 Po in this dual aspect of soul. And if any one of them gets lost, if any one element is fractured or lost, then we become ill. It makes sense, really, doesn't it? We become ill or unconscious. Now it gets even more interesting when staying with this dual element of soul. In what they call the Austronesian, which is Australia-Polynesian, in the shamanic hinterlands, the ancient ways of being in that southern half of the hemisphere, the word for body soul is nawa, and it means breath, life, and vital spark. So the soul relating to breath, importance, as does Atman, is also breath. But we're back to soul dualism because they have, where's the word? yeah, literally they have a word, dousa, which literally means twin or dual or both. Twin souls. And they say that a virtuous person has both of those souls in accord with each other. They're in harmony. So when your souls are in harmony, your dual souls, you're virtuous and living a good life. And when they're a non-virtuous person's souls are in conflict. Now, who knows, but I get a sense of, because it figures also in Hinduism, with Brahma and Atman, different aspects of soul. One is the soul of in our life, which goes back to the greater soul, and the other is the greater soul. I have a sense that if my soul is in accord with the universal soul, I live a happy and virtuous life. When my individual soul is out of accord, out of harmony with the soul source, then my life will not be so virtuous and not so content. These are just thoughts. So in the shamanistic traditions, they talk of the free soul in these Austronesian traditions. They talk of the free soul leaving the body during sleep, trance, delirium, unconsciousness, and at death. And if, and it can cause insanity. If our soul departs, or aspects of our soul depart us, we can lose our capacity to cope in the world and lose our functionality and become either permanently asleep or literally unconscious or ultimately dead. And so that's reflected in shamans working with soul loss, soul retrieval. There's masses around that, but the element that really comes through is that it's not just our physical well-being. There is a soul, and if it's lost or malfunctioning, we're in trouble. We need to look after our soul. Just finally on this part, just bringing it up to date with, it's interesting how Western culture, in trying to define the soul, because of course science can't really get a handle on soul. It doesn't figure particularly, as far as I'm aware, in science, but more so in latter years through aspects of, archetypal psychology. Well, James Hillman did work on this a few decades ago, and he said that he regarded the soul as being, it's a bit wordy, but that's our way these days, isn't it, in the modern world, but he's got the nub of it. He says he regards the soul as being the self-sustaining and imagining substrate. The self-sustaining and imagining substrate, so the platform that looks after itself, upon which consciousness rests. It is that which makes meaning possible, deepens events into experiences, is communicated through love, and has a religious concern, he says. If one takes religion as being religare, reconnecting, I can go with that. It also has a special relationship with death. So those are just some thoughts. And let's just bring that back to the essence of soul. And our eyes as gateways to the soul. When I look at someone, when you look at me, I look at you, the eyes are the gateways to the soul, the clue as to our soulfulness. Paolo Coelho said, your eyes show the strength of your soul. And Thomas Mann, the great novelist, the German novelist, said, laughter is a sunbeam of the soul. Why have you come to earth? Do you remember? Why have you taken birth? Why have you come? to love, to serve and remember, to love, to serve and remember, to love, to serve and remember, to love, to serve and remember. Why have I come to earth? Do I remember? And to give expression to soul, to give sustenance to soul, to give succour to soul, to allow soulfulness to blossom is my hunch as to why we're in the world. Who knows? We've all got to find our way. The great mystery, the mystery and magic of soul. Okay, so this is interactive. Time to invite you to join me on a journey, and let's make it experiential. Let's go on a journey and see what comes of it in terms of relating to and seeking glints of the kindling, glints of soul. So I invite you to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths with me. First deep breath into the body. Second deep breath into the belly. And let's just call it in. Third breath deep into the soul. And I invite you to find yourself in your imagination, in your mind's eye, on a forest path. Some of you have been here before, but this may be new for others. Imagine yourself on a path through the forest. At a time of day which is perhaps your favourite. At a time of year which is also your favourite. And maybe while we're at it, because we work in threes, at a time in life that is your favourite. And you're walking through the forest and you're enjoying bare feet on grass and earth. And you can smell the earth. It smells good. It's a healing smell. It's of our source, of our essence. And you see the trees around and birds flying between the trees. You see that and you hear bird song. You hear the birds expressing soulfulness through song. And you feel a slight breeze on your skin, on your arms and on your face. A beautiful breeze, alive, vital, beautiful. And you make your way, you walk along this track in the forest, and it opens out into a glade, into a large grove, where there are trees in a circle. A grove of trees. Welcoming, glorious, healing trees. All in a large circle, and you're invited. You just feel welcomed and warmed and nourished as you walk into that circle. And you find a nice tussock of grass for a headrest and a lush grass, and you just lie on your back for a while and make yourself comfortable in this glade. So just listen to these words and let them wash over you as you lie there relaxing. All the possibilities of your human destiny are asleep in your soul. You are here to realize and honor these possibilities. One of the deepest longings of the human soul is to be seen. Beauty is the illumination of your soul. Your soul knows the geography of your destiny. The soul alone has the map of your future. Therefore, you can trust this indirect, oblique side of yourself. If you do, it will take you where you need to go. But more importantly, it will teach you a kindness of rhythm in your journey. Once the soul awakens, the search begins, and you can never go back. From there on, you are inflamed with a special longing that will never again let you linger in the lowlands of complacency and partial fulfillment. The eternal makes you urgent. You are loath to let compromise or the threat of danger hold you back from striving towards the summit of fulfillment. So in your grove world, I invite you to open your eyes to the glory of the beauty around you in that place at this special time, in this special world. And you roll over onto your side in readiness for maybe getting up. And as you do so, you notice in one over in beyond where you'd looked before, you can see in a further reach of the grove a few saplings surrounding a rocky pool. And you get up and gently make your way over to this pool surrounded by young trees, maybe some flowers. And the pool, there is a seat next to the pool. You don't look into the pool yet. You just admire and absorb the beauty of the surroundings of that pool. And just before you do look into that pool in a moment, I invite you to open yourself to the possibility and the probability and the potential for witnessing an aspect of your soul reflected or emerging from the waters of this soulful pool, this sewal, soul pool And in your own time, when you're ready, you take a breath and you look over into the deep, beautiful pool of your soul. What do you see? So enjoy a few moments, just whatever's present in the pool, in your soul, in your being. Just be with whatever's coming up. The soulfulness of this soul pool, which is yours. So it may be there's a gift in the visual, maybe a gift emerges from the pool in some way, or maybe there's some symbol or gift to the side of the pool, some gift for your soul. Take a moment or two to identify it and to gratefully receive it. And then bowing to the pool, raising yourself, standing up and giving a little thank you in your own way. Might be a smile, might be a bow, or a curtsy, or touching the earth. Whatever feels right. And it can be fun and playful. And you turn in gratitude and you make your way back over to where you entered the grove. And you walk back along the path by which you came, the bare earth on your bare feet, the air and the breath of the wind on your skin, your breath merging with the greater breath, your soul merging with the greater soul, your self-soul and the greater self of the universal soul. You walk back along the path and you make your way back into this space, wherever this space is for you. I'm here in this space for me, and wiggling your fingers and toes, smiling, opening your eyes, and coming back into this space. O musician of my soul, play your song with every breath. I invite you to join me if you care to. I think it would be rather beautiful. O musician of my soul, play your song with every breath. One last time. Oh, music. musician of my soul, play your song, play your song with every breath. It's interesting as I dwell in this moment to reflect that soul cannot be communicated by words alone. It's not enough for the mind to try and comprehend the soul. It's not of this place, although this place can help point the way. It's much more in the realms of silence, song, soulfulness, in the places of quietude. But other episodes of Sovereign Earth have covered some of those topics. They all weave together. I forgot to read these earlier on, and I think they're really relevant. I wanted to bring in the historical, soulful wisdom. Okay, so from the Hindu tradition, Mahatma Gandhi. When I admire the wonders of a sunset or the beauty of the moon, my soul expands in the worship of the Creator. This one from the Prophet Muhammad, from Islam. The greatest of wealth is the richness of the soul. The greatest of wealth is the richness of the soul. This from Christianity, from King Solomon. So probably the Old Testament. Some of you will know this better than me. From the Bible, I believe. Your own soul is nourished when you are kind. It is destroyed when you are cruel. That's powerful. Your own soul is nourished when you are kind. It's destroyed when you're cruel. A couple of others. Marcus Aurelius from the early Roman Empire times. The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. Another quote, if you don't take risks, you'll have a wasted soul. And music is an outburst of the soul, said Frederick Delius. I'm just toying with more words or a song. The song will figure. It's just whether I have the words first or following the song. I think I'll split the words. I'll tell you what's interesting. I had so many... there's so much I could have offered into this space to do with soul. There's so much soulfulness to be found and had and pointed towards in quotes and teachings, and there's so many. My task has been to whittle them down, so I don't claim to have it right, but here's some interesting ones. Always trust your instincts. They're messages from your soul. They are that inner part of you that strives to make you whole. The soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. Here's a couple of different angles on soulfulness, which I find quite powerful. This one, Charlie Chaplin, the comedian Charlie Chaplin, wrote this in a letter to his daughter. Your naked body should only belong to those who fall in love with your naked soul. Your naked body should only belong to those who fall in love with your naked soul. James Joyce wrote this powerful and moving statement. James Joyce, who was the great Irish writer. He said, when the soul of a man is born in this country, there are nets thrown at it to hold it back from flight. And that's causing me to well up, because I think that's often what we do in our society. When the soul of a child is born in this world, there are nets thrown at it to hold it back from flight. And maybe that's part of the soul's quest, is to overcome those nets. But it's a great pity, isn't it, a shame when we do that to a child or a newborn through our fault line education system and fault line values system. Emily Dickinson said, the soul should always stand ajar, ready to welcome the ecstatic experience. Charles Bukowski said, if you're losing your soul and you know it, then you've still got a soul left to lose. So if you're in a really tough place, if you're losing your soul and you know it, then you've still got a soul left to lose. Some of these are more poignant sayings, as you will appreciate. And Daniel Defoe, before I sing a song. The soul is placed in the body like a rough diamond and must be polished, or the lustre of it will never appear. So hopefully some of these drops of inspiration are, when, as I experience them, as I find them and speak them, will inspire and bring forth and illuminate the soulfulness that each of us so beautifully and bountifully carries within us, but is so easily forgotten sometimes. So here's a song that I think embodies soulfulness in its beautiful simplicity and silence. It's from the Scottish Islands. It's Gaelic, 3 words. Canam. It's not Canamanach, and that's the prayer. Caim agus cura. That's it. I'll just sing it. If you feel moved to, please join. I'm coming towards the end. I've got a couple of final quotes, but coming towards the end, I invite you to join in and let's sing in soulfulness together. But you're welcome equally to listen. Caim agos Caim agos cura. Once more. Caim agos Couple of final thoughts. One from Rumi. My soul is from elsewhere. I'm sure of that. And I intend to end up there. I don't know who wrote this. Follow your soul, it knows the way. Maybe I did. Maybe we all write that one. Walt Whitman from the States. Whatever satisfies the soul is truth. Whatever satisfies the soul is truth. And finally, again, I see it's another Rumi one. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with their soul, there's no such thing as separation. He actually says with heart and soul, so I'll read it again. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes, because for those who love with heart and soul, there's no such thing as separation. That's a good note to finish on. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. I feel a lot more soulful for being in this place, in this moment, with each and every one of you. Even though I can't see you, I can feel you. Soulfulness. You can say it's imagination, but I feel a deep soulfulness in this moment. And I thank you for journeying with me. May your souls fly and prosper. And hope to see you again. Let's blow out this candle for the good of all beings, and that all beings may have soulfulness in their lives. To soulfulness. 1, 2, 3. So I'll bid you adieu, goodbye, and love of the soul. Good night, everyone. Travel well.